Welcome to Lesson 1 in Unit 13, Avoiding Extinction. In this lesson, students will work to answer the question, how do we know about living things from the past? In this lesson, students ask questions about prehistoric life. They figure out that fossils are preserved remains of plants and animals. Scientists, called paleontologists, study fossils to learn more about life in the past. Students make connections to the storyline by investigating how fossils provide clues into dinosaurs, megafauna, and other organisms that are now extinct. There are several opportunities for ELA, math, and social studies cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 13 teacher guide. This lesson will take approximately 4 days to complete. To begin the engage portion and introduce the anchoring phenomenon, you'll show students some videos and images of fossils being excavated. Be sure to see the noted opportunity to attend to equity should the provided anchoring phenomenon not be compelling for your students. Students will find the anchoring phenomenon more compelling if they can connect to it personally. If you want to change the anchoring phenomenon for your context, keep the following questions in mind. Is it going to be relevant to my students' lives and/or particularly engaging to them? Is it going to motivate students to want to explain how fossils provide evidence of past organisms, how some organisms survive better than others in a given habitat, how the plants and animals change when the environment changes, and inherited and environmental traits? After looking at the photos and videos, you'll ask students what they notice. And as students are sharing their observations, you'll provide them with the sentence stem, "Now I'm wondering about," to model how we can use observations to develop questions. Once students have their questions, you will guide them in creating categories for their questions on the class driving question board, using the steps provided in the teacher guide. Do not answer questions at this time or correct student thinking. They will explore their questions and explain this anchoring phenomenon throughout the unit. Here are some examples of driving question boards from other K-5 units. They depict the student questions in categories, some along with a drawn model from the unit. Some driving question boards are simple lists of questions or groups of sticky notes posted on chart paper. Teachers and students can manipulate and move around questions and label categories together. You'll tell students that they are going to investigate their questions to help them learn more about fossils and what they tell us about organisms from the past. You'll ask them what they think a fossil is, and post and discuss the fossil and organism vocabulary cards. You'll also ask if they think these animals are alive today, and post the extinct vocabulary card. To begin the Explore portion, you can show students a scientist profile video and ask questions about how they are collecting fossils and what a paleontologist is. You can post and discuss the paleontologist vocabulary card. You'll then follow the instructions in the tutorial slides to set up and carry out the paleontologist dig. You'll have students use the tools to dig for their own fossils in sand. They'll collect data about their fossils in the Fossil Data Recording Sheet, student journal pages. For the Explain portion, you'll bring the class together and lead a discussion about their observations from the investigation. You'll use the provided questions to guide your discussion around the question, how do we know about living things from the past? The goal of this class discussion is to reflect on the process of digging for bones and how pieces are put together like a puzzle to display models of early life. You'll use the discussion to create the Lesson 1 summary chart. By the end of the discussion, students should understand that living things from the past, including those that are extinct, leave behind fossils. Scientists use fossils as evidence. Fossils tell us about the different types of organisms that lived on Earth, like size or shape of the organism and when they lived. During the discussion, you'll post the model vocabulary card. You'll also read The Dinosaurs of Waterhouse-Hawkins. Be sure to use the Read Aloud Guide to help students synthesize ideas about using fossils to create models that explain what life looked like on Earth in the past. You'll also have students work in their original groups using the fossils or drawn fossil pieces they collected as puzzle pieces. You'll have them use the pieces they have to try to develop a sketch model of their organism in their Fossil Model Student Journal page. For the Elaborate portion, you'll remind students of Waterhouse-Hawkins and how he created the first dinosaur models. You'll ask students if they think they could follow a similar process to build 3D models of their fossils. You'll provide students group with the puzzle pieces and clay to build their 3D models. You'll have groups use these materials to create 3D models of their organism. See the tutorial for an example. You'll then show the timeline and ask students what it shows. You'll ask what students notice about when the organisms lived. You can post the prehistoric vocabulary card during your discussion. For the Evaluate portion, you'll have students independently complete the Fossil Evidence Quick Check in their student journal. To support student sense-making across the unit, orient them back to the driving question board. Ask, what did we learn about how we know about living things from the past? And what new questions do we have? By the end of this lesson, students will have analyzed fossil evidence to describe and develop a model of organisms that lived long ago. In Lesson 2, students will continue to analyze fossil evidence to predict environments of the past. For the optional Extend, you can provide students with newspapers and glue to make papier-mâché for their prehistoric life models. For more information about this unit, visit myscipartners.com.